ESPN's Jeremy Fowler has tossed out what he believes is the over-under for T. Higgins. And also, there are emerging reports that the New England Patriots are ready to offer this guy massive amounts of money. And if that's the case, his price tag goes up. But also, you look at opportunity over dollars, and yeah, the Patriots sound great. Drake May sounds great. Maybe by the end of that third year, you're ready to compete for a Super Bowl. I don't know if it's coming in year 2 or year 3. T. Higgins over under right now, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, is about $30 million. New England is expected to drive that price up. The Cincinnati Bengals are in a spot where you don't really know. For a little while, I could tell you that the Pittsburgh Steelers went from T. Higgins is going to be a guy that we have to look at to T. Higgins might not be available because the Bengals might lock him down and they might be actually serious about keeping him around. I don't know where they stand currently, where the NFL stands currently. It feels like we're in that weird middle ground where 2 weeks from now when we're at the combine, things will change and you'll hear some stuff. But for right now, it's too quiet. There's not enough going on to understand where that lies. For $30 million, we'll say 32 because the Patriots are going to push that thing forward. What is your number for T. Higgins? This is what I am willing to pay as the Pittsburgh Steelers to acquire the biggest name in the wide receiver market this offseason. I'm not talking realistic. I'm talking you are Omar Khan. This is the number they should. We could dive into realistic next, but this is the number they should be willing to hit to acquire a T. Higgins.
I'm looking at 35. I knew it was going to be over 30 if he was leaving Cincinnati. I think I said that a couple of weeks ago on the show. I said if he gets loose from Cincinnati, the number is going to be over 30. So that over-under that Fowler put out didn't surprise me in the least. But if he's coming to the Steelers, it's going to take a tax. And I think that tax gets all the way up to 35 before I put the phone down if I'm Omar Khan.
Why do you think it takes a tax? Why are you so sold on it's an AFC North team and because of that, he's going to be super loyal to the Bengals?
Because of how much he's been kind of holding out hope that the Bengals would offer him something that is at least amenable from his side. It feels like he is somebody who's been fiercely loyal to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know that money talks, but that money in New England is going to be just as good as the money in Pittsburgh. And if he wants to come to Pittsburgh, I think he might run it up a little bit, use it to his advantage, and that's going to be the biggest reason why, is saying, hey, you're asking me to go to my biggest rival, the team that I've hated for the last couple of years. I'm going to probably try to run it up a little bit more on them and get some more money out of him. And I'm sure he'd be fine coming to Pittsburgh, but in contract negotiations, every little bit helps. And I think that that's why he'd run it up a little bit on Pittsburgh. And because I think he's going to have offers from around the league that's going to get that number to go up a little bit higher too.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think 35 is a good number. I think there's a possibility that his options aren't as great everywhere else. I think there's the possibility that the Kansas City Chiefs say we need T. Higgins. That's a real thing that could work out. And that's a total game changer. At that point, there's no competition. You're going there. I think there's a chance that the Baltimore Ravens say, screw it, let's go get T. Higgins. They look way better than the Pittsburgh Steelers on paper. But I also think that there's a possibility that the Patriots, that the Jets, that the Giants, that all these like really bad teams are the ones hunting for him. And nobody's really eager to offer $33 million to a guy this offseason that isn't a top 10 team in the NFL draft. And because of that, I think it could work in the Steelers' favor, where it is that $32 million. The AFC North thing, I think, works in two ways. Patrick Queen was super loyal to the Ravens until they pissed him off enough. And, T. Higgins could definitely be pissed off enough if the Bengals lowball him one more time after franchise tagging him, after making it known that he didn't want to be franchise tagged the first time and pissing off Joe Burrow in the meantime. But I think the Patriots, I think Drake May is a name to watch. 35. I'm somewhat okay. Who else makes $35 million at the wide receiver market? I think that plays a role into this because it's got to be Jamar Chase makes 35. Tyreek Hill probably makes somewhere close to 35. I don't know who else would be up there that makes $30 million or $35 million a year in the NFL. Who else signed last year that would come to mind? That's I think that's the question.
I mean, Justin Jefferson's probably up there as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the list, but you get the picture. It is cream of the crop that's getting paid that much money. But at the end of the day, every offseason there is a new number one. And right now, T. Higgins is the number one option, which means he could probably get paid that number one money. I understand that when you're looking at Chase, when you're looking at Jefferson, when you're looking at Tyreek Hill, these are all guys that have proven to be able to be number ones. And T. Higgins hasn't ever been given that opportunity, but he has long been thought of as a number one sitting in a number two role. I think with the opportunity to break free from that, he's going to get paid that type of money, not to mention the fact that if you're a team like the Steelers, you're not going to pay your quarterback all that much money. At least you're not expected to pay your quarterback a crazy arm and a leg. And everybody else that's going to get big money is under contract. Like, you have one big swing that you can take this offseason. I'd imagine that they would look to take it at the wide receiver position, because that's the spot that everybody and their mother was saying was the biggest area of weakness for the Steelers last year.
What is the quarterback price tag if you sign T. Higgins to $35 million a year?
15 to 20. I think that's what you're looking at. And it's
so who are the realistic options there? Just Justin Fields?
I think that's where they're going. I think that's where they're going. So yeah, I think that's what you're looking at is Justin Fields, or like I said yesterday when we gave our top 5 options for the Steelers, or you go with the rookie, which is again not great. It is a yikes, but that's how confident I am that I think they're going to go after Justin, and I think they're going to get him under 20.
I don't know if they're going to get him under 20. I think that's the price they're looking for. I don't know. I've heard the Jets are interested in Justin. I heard the Jets are very interested in Justin, actually. And I've heard the Giants are looking Justin's way as well. So there might be some competition for Justin Fields. I hope for the career sake of Justin Fields that he does not make either of those commitments. But we all know that there's that team out there that's willing to pay Deshaun Watson $250 million guaranteed, and the Jets are a team like the Jets are. Would it even surprise you in the slightest? Steelers ignored. Surprise you in the slightest if the New York Jets paid Aaron Rodgers $49 million this season and then paid Justin Fields $25? Would that even remotely shock you if they did that?
No, it wouldn't surprise me, because Woody Johnson seems somebody desperate to get
Woody Johnson's son. Woody Johnson's son.
Woody Johnson's son. Either way, they seem desperate as a franchise, and I know that's rich coming from an organization who's having billboards put up about their ownership. But I think that the Jets seem and have been seeming pretty desperate as a franchise, and it goes back to going after Aaron Rodgers at 38 years old.
Yeah, I agree. I think you put yourself in a tough spot once you hit that $35 million number. But I also agree with you and the stance that you have to go make a splash. I'd be interested to know what the difference is between a T. Higgins and a Chris Godwin, a T. Higgins and a Darius Slayton. If it's a $15 million jump there, T, it's been real, dog. You've been good. I wish you nothing but the best. You go get somebody else and you save $15 million. If the Steelers were like, if this was the Chiefs, you pay him $35 million. There's no questions asked. You pay him 40 if that's what you really could afford and could do. The Steelers, I think it depends on where everybody else is, but I agree with you that 35 is probably the number that they're going to have to get near to go get him, especially if teams are making a big push. And there are teams with massive, the Patriots have like $180 million in cap space or something. Maybe it's 108. Maybe I read that backwards, but it's definitely triple digits. The Steelers are at 52 before they touch anything, and they need to sign a quarterback. That's a different situation. The money is not necessarily all there. You are going to save some. I would imagine the Steelers are at 75 just with cuts and stuff before they actually go into free agency. I still think 75, you got to be thinking what's option B before you're giving up that money if you're the Steelers.
Yeah, and you also have to remember they were willing to pay Brandon Ayuk over $30 million all of last offseason. What's an extra $2 or $3 million? Like, you can't sign Michael Pruitt back to the roster next year. Like that, to get a top tier wide receiver, I think is something the Steelers would do every single day.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that they are desperate enough. I don't know if it makes sense, but I think that they are desperate enough. I'm interested to know what the quarterback market is, because that sets everything off. If you get Justin for $15 million a year, dude, you could go sign everybody. Who cares? Just go get T. Higgins, go get Tyler Lockett, trade for Cooper Kupp, go sign Javon Hargraves and whoever else is out there, go ink a corner, and then maybe go get Ronnie Stanley.